What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got an episode of The Drive-In. I just got back from seeing Hellfest. That just came out last week. I just saw it today. I wanted to give you guys a quick drive-in review for my channel for Hellfest. This was directed by Gregory Plotkin, who I believe had something to do with the Paranormal Activity series, or at least the first one, starring Amy Forsyth, Bex Taylor Klaus, and Rain Edwards. This is a typical kind of classic slasher style movie. I'm going to have spoilers in this review, so if you guys have not seen Hellfest and you want to go see it, don't watch this video yet. Go watch Hellfest and come back, because there are spoilers throughout this review from the drive-in. I really enjoyed Hellfest. I've been kind of hard this year on slasher movies and horror movies in general. I've said this has been the weakest year for horror out of the last 5. And I love this time of year because we're getting a bunch of horror-style movies this time of year, and they snuck a slasher in there. My favorite genre of all horror is slasher. I grew up in the 80s like all of you guys probably did, with Jason, Michael, Freddy, Chucky, all that stuff. So to get a classic slasher this October is pretty cool. To go on the positives first, there are a lot of them for me. This is a very, to outline the whole thing, this is a very basic, simplistic, formulaic, but fun, well-paced, easy-to-watch slasher. It has that 90s feel to it. It's a little self-aware. It's a little cheesy. It's not super deep, but it's just a fun thrill ride. It's a start-to-finish, fast-paced, fun slasher flick. So if you guys like that sort of thing, I think you'll like Hellfest. It was just reinvigorating for me. It wasn't kind of toned down or slow-paced. I think a lot of the bigger hits this year have tried to kind of rely on sound design and kind of slow burn and kind of creepy effects and stuff like that. This movie is just straight up unapologetic for what it is. Very basic, simplistic, but fun. The story behind Hellfest essentially is 6 friends. One comes home after being gone for a while, reunites with a longtime friend and a old classmate. And these 3 girls and their one's love interest and 2 boyfriends, so 3 girls, 3 guys, coupled up, get together to go to this place called Hellfest, which is this very exclusive, very popular haunted house attraction. And when they get there, they are stalked by this one guy in a mask and a hoodie, and they think he is one of the attendants of this, one of the workers of Hellfest, but he really is not. He is somebody who uses that guise to kill people. We see a murder in the opening scene, which is a fun opener. And then we see this guy kind of stalking around, picking out this group who believe that he's just another worker trying to be annoying and trying to mess with them. And in reality, he is hunting his prey in real life, and nobody believes it because they think it's all part of the act. So, first things first, I thought the acting was pretty solid. Bex Taylor Klaus comes from the Scream series. She was one of the better characters in the Scream series, and she's very, very good here. The person who played the main character, I'm forgetting her name already, Amy Forsyth, I believe is her name. Didn't see a ton of credits to her, but she's been getting into horror in the last 3 or 4 years. I really enjoyed her as the kind of final girl, one of the 2 best friends who stays up till the end. Really enjoyed her. She wasn't like a phenomenal actress or anything special, but she played her part very well. She was convincing. She went through the standard scares of a haunted house, and then actually realizing that it's real and she's being stalked and something is not right. And you see her slowly getting more and more afraid, and she plays it up well. I really enjoyed her. I think she has a great look. I think she has a lot of personality, and I really enjoyed her in this film. Really, there's no bad apples in this. There's really no acting here that I was disappointed by. First of all, set design. I should have given exact credit to the person who did the location managing and set design for this, because I love haunted houses, and I love carnivals, and I love that this was the setting for this movie. This movie being set at a haunted house, big carnival-style horror. The lighting and stuff was great. I love the camera angles, but especially the set design for this. The location managers and set designers who found this place and built these props, just so cool. They had such a cool reason to pull out jump scares. Around every corner was a new haunt. You had really cool lighting tricks. You had good sound design with the jumps that made everything scary. I just really enjoy this as a background. I think that the carnival/haunted house setting is probably the best setting for a slasher film, and it blends the lines of reality with the show and the hunt, the fantasy of the show. So that made for a very fun movie. Really enjoyed that a lot. The music was good for this. There was a nice opening sequence of titles over screams with some background music. Good credit song as well. I thought that it played up to the jump scares with a lot of nice bangs and good sound design, so really enjoyed the music as well for this. The look of the killer I enjoyed. It was pretty simple. It was just like a big shroud with a hood, big hooded character with a really cool mask that kind of reminds me of my mask from my book Behind Empty Eyes. Cheap plug there. My murder mystery Behind Empty Eyes that came out two or 3 years ago now. It looks very similar to that, except the color instead of being blue is kind of like brownish. So really cool, realistic looking mask. Really good stuff there. Obviously, it's kind of standard slasher fare. He picks off the friends one by one before they even notice they're missing. It comes down to the two best friends, the two best friend characters, Rain Edwards and Amy Forsyth, who have a nice bond and play it up very well. And then essentially, what happens at the end? We find out that the cops finally realize that this killer is doing what the kids say he's doing. They don't believe them for the longest time. They finally believe the main characters, with just two of them left, and they can't find the killer. The killer's missing after all this. They go to catch the killer, and the killer is gone. So he has survived to live another day. Then at the end, he goes back and puts his mask with a bunch of other masks in a big drawer that he has with a bunch of collectibles. And he puts the pictures that he took of the main couple of the movie. He puts their little mini pictures in his drawer. So he's collecting victims. He has a bunch of victims. He's done this before. He has all the different masks of the different employees of this haunted house. So he goes there each time with a different mask and continues to be a killer. And then he comes in and he's humming his little jingle. And there's a little girl on the couch and she wakes up and goes, "Oh, hey, Daddy." And so we find out that he's a father. He's just an everyday, regular, working man father. And then he gives her a stuffed animal that he took from one of the characters that he killed earlier. So the chill there is in the callback. And usually, I'm somebody who likes to have story behind my killings. I like to have the killer related to the victims in some way, or have a certain reason for why he picked them out, or have some sort of backstory as to why he's a killer. But I think Hitchcock and later on Wes Craven's character Billy Loomis said it best, that sometimes it's scarier when there's no motive. When you just have a lunatic who just does this all the time and he's just been stacking up victims, I think that is a very scary and cool way to do it too. So that could be looked at as a positive or negative depending on how story-driven you are. They don't ever tell you why he's chosen these people or why he does this for a living, or why he goes back and always continues to kill. So we don't really get a story behind it. But the character itself is pretty cool, and the twist of being a father and the fact that he's done this before is a good little twist. So if you're looking for really deep character development and interweaving threads and a closing reasoning as to why this is happening, you're not going to be happy here. And obviously this thing has its holes. There's plenty of plot holes. There's logic holes up and down this thing. There's a lot of things they say that if you work in a haunted house and you watch this, you're going to be like, it's breaking the fourth wall constantly. It's not really realistic to working in a haunted house. So logically, it's a little lacking. In terms of story finality, it's a little lacking. Obviously, it's not super complicated. It's formulaic. It kind of copies the rules of the 80s and 90s slashers. So it's not super original, and it is formulaic. But with those things being said, I just really enjoyed this top to bottom. It feels like an 80s or 90s slasher. It feels like the 1988 to 1993 kind of slasher. It's fun. It's paced very well. The sound is good. It looks very nice and clean. The killer's look is cool. The kills themselves are cool. The acting is fairly strong. So again, this is not reinventing the wheel here. This is not going to be some deep, dark masterpiece, but it is going to be a fun thrill ride that if you like basic slashers and you like that genre and you like that formula, that you don't have to think. You can just turn your brain off and watch a fun movie and have some nice little scares and some cool kills. I think you guys will enjoy this. I'm going to give this film 7.5 out of 10. So if you guys have seen Hellfest, or when you do watch it, come back and tell me in the comments what you guys think of this movie. And please come back later in the week. I have more haul videos coming up. I have my 31 movie list for the month coming up. I've got set decoration for my house to show you guys coming up. All kinds of things Halloween related on this channel. Come back again and I'll see y'all soon.